Have you ever wanted to play a death simulator? Well then, I have the game for you. As you can tell, I like the Elder Scrolls like many other intelligent and charismatic gamers. But if you ask an Elder Scrolls fan what their favorite game in the series is, it'll probably be Skyrim, or if you have Class, Morrowind, or Oblivion. But never the first two games. You may ask why? Well, it's because they didn't have Todd Howard, and they looked like this. But as of recently, a brave man decided to remake the second Elder Scrolls game, Daggerfall, in the Unity game engine, and this makes the game playable and it adds mods. So background, it is the 1990s and a group of rambunctious game developers decided to make a computer role-playing game called Elder Scrolls Arena. The game was an unfinished, buggy mess. Some things never change. Anyways, the game had mild success and they started working on a sequel. The sequel is set in the region of the Iliac Bay, which takes place in two Elder Scrolls provinces, High Rock, which is your stereotypical fantasy land, and Hammerfell, which is just North Africa in the Middle East. So the game starts with character creation, which is probably one of the most complicated RPG character creation systems in gaming. You can choose a race, you can play as any of the Elder Scrolls races except Imperials for lore reasons, and Orcs because at this point in the series there's still savages that must be obliterated. Once you choose your race, now you gotta create a class. This is where your PhD and having no friends may come in handy. So I could give you a TED talk about how to make a good character, or I can just tell you some basics. If you want to make a warrior, make your primary skills your weapons of choice and critical strike. Major skills and minor skills, you can do whatever you want. If you want to make a major, primary skill should be 2 fields of magic and a melee skill. For major skills, make them other fields of magic. If you want to make a thief, your primary skill should be lockpicking, a melee skill of choice, and critical strike. You could also experiment with builds. This is just what is efficient for me. To the right, you have advantages and disadvantages, which are just bonuses and disadvantages to your character. You can also have reputation to determine your standing of the many social classes in the game. After you create a class, the next thing you do is fill out a personality survey to determine what you start the game with. Then you choose name and portrait for your character, since character customization won't come until Oblivion, and you finally roll some dice to determine your stats. Once you finish all of that, you will spawn in the game's first dungeon, Privateer's Hold. This will be your first challenge. You will die a lot, but after many blood, sweat, and tears, you'll finally see daylight. And at that point in the game, what you do next is up to you. You'll get notes from the Emperor telling you to do your job, but we ignore those. After a month, he'll tell you that you're useless and you won't be able to do the main quest, which is perfectly fine. Why waste your time helping the Emperor when you can read books or browse the real estate market? But if you're like me, the main goal of this game is to become filthy rich. And to do this, you can join one of the many guilds and loot some dungeons for wealth, or if you're a criminal, you can rob bookstores and acquire mountains of wealth. But after a while, you could be traveling to a new city and you just died out of nowhere. You may be wondering, why did you die? Or why are you watching this video? I can only answer one of those questions. You died to a horrible disease. Remember when you were young and your mom told you not to play with rats? Same logic applies here. Once you get leveled up and get some wealth, you'll eventually be getting sick of traveling around, only resting in disease-ridden taverns and dungeons where you'll be waking up every hour by a skeleton. So once you find a city to settle down in, you can buy a house, but you realize that the real estate market is almost as broken as the one in real life. You may want to take a loan to afford a nice 2-room shack in the slum that even the Thieves Guild thinks is too poor for them. So after a while, you'll probably forget about that loan you took, but one of these days when you're going to your local general store, you'll get body tackled and beaten and dragged to court for avoiding your debts. You'll spend the next year in prison, and when you get released, nobody will dare look at you because you did something as outrageous as not pay the bank back. At this point, you should sell your house and move to a new country. Once there, it is best to join a new guild. You could join a knighthood and murder orcs for the next 30 years of your life to get a house for free, or you can join a temple and do many quests just to summon a Daedric prince or something worse. Daggerfall is a game which you can get lost in, metaphorically and literally. The game has one of the largest maps in gaming, with it being around the size of Great Britain, and the dungeons in this game are randomly generated, so that means we have dungeons that look like this. There's a fixed event called Smaller Dungeons. I'll link a video in the description on how to activate it. And while you explore the world, you have a fire soundtrack that is criminally underrated. Fun fact, Todd Howard did actually do something for this game. He voiced some of the monsters.
Oh no! What do we do? I'm so scared.
If this game sounds interesting to you and you want to try it, well, I have some good news. Bethesda made this game free a few years ago, and to spare you the hours I spent watching 40-year-old men showing you how to install the game, I will give a quick tutorial at this timestamp. Anyways, it's December, and at the end of this month is a special celebration that we're all excited for, and let's take a guess on what it is. Exactly, the Uncle Hector 1-year anniversary. So I have to start preparing for it, but I don't know what I want to do exactly. I was thinking I could live stream or do something like that, but if you have any suggestions, comment them below and I'll choose the one that interests me most. Next week we're going back to history with the world's most stable and peaceful country. Like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! Okay, I'm going to show you how to install Daggerfall Unity now. So basically it's really easy. Go here, download this, go here, download that, make a folder, label it Daggerfall Unity, put both folders inside, and boom, you can play. Have fun.